G'day legends, I hope you're all fantastic. Firmware 6 beta for the FM9 has just come out and it is mighty impressive. Essentially, everything that's been added to the Axe-FX 3 over the last few months has been piped in to the FM9 in this single update. Gapless switching for presets, scenes and channels. All the new effect types like the new spring and plate reverbs, the new trems, the new drives, new amp models, amp modeling improvements. They even improved the latency for the FM9 as well. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of different things and hear plenty of sound examples. First, if you want to use the gapless switching, you need to do a few little things setup-wise on here. So first, make sure you go to the setup menu and under effect mixing, you can either do this from the updated editor or from the front panel. You want to turn spillover and gapless to all. If you don't want gapless preset switching, you just want gapless channels and scenes, there's an option for that on there. Of course, you can choose not to use these. If you only ever use a single amp, cab, and like a delay in here with no scenes, and that's your flex, you can do that too. But I think a lot of people are going to want to use these functions in here. So you turn spillover and gapless on. The next thing is you need to resave all your presets for this particular firmware. So if you wanted to switch from a new preset that you made, like this preset that I've got here to showcase a bunch of effect types, and then a preset saved on an older firmware, and you notice a gap, well, you got to open up that other preset that's saved on the older firmware and save it, or you can kind of do this little batch setting trick. Choose the most banal parameter that is going to be under the hood in most of your presets. Like let's say in the input block here, input number 1, you go to the output level and there is a batch setting tool in here. On a Mac, if you hold down Shift and then right click it, let's go to set in multiple presets. My preset list comes up. I can then highlight all the presets that I want to update as a batch, hit save on them. They will all be resaved under this new firmware. And if you've got gapless set to all and spillover set to all, you're good to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a demo of the gapless switching between presets. I'll just let you see the front panel of my FM9. This isn't the best camera angle, but it will do for this short demonstration. I've got a bank of presets here set up with essentially what I would use in a regular gig. Preset 1 is just going to be my main kind of chunky rhythm sound. Then I've got a lead sound, a rhythmic delay, something wobbly, and something a bit lo-fi. That works really well. Alternatively, if I've just got a bunch of random presets, I can switch between all of those as well. Let's see what we come up with here. This is a JVM preset. I'll go to a Clean Amps preset and then a preset based on the Stroma Volante. Let's take a look at some of the new stuff in here. I'll start out with some of the amp models. I've got the 5153 100 watt Stealth Red. There are models of the blue and green channels in here. The red's my favorite. I know a lot of people like the blue, and don't sleep on the green because it's a pretty sweet crunch amp as well. I've got my free cab IR and I've got a little bit of the gold plate reverb. This is a new type in here. All the plate reverbs were updated with new physical modeling improvements on here. Time is at 1.5 seconds. Mix is turned down a bit. Do I have a low cut in here? I do. I've applied a little bit of a low cut to the reverb. This has bumped the good old London plate for me. So let's just have a listen to this combination on here. I will kick in a preamp boost using the CC boost with the 5153. Let's try that. Another model I've been loving is the Brit 800 2203. There's actually models of the 2203 high and low inputs as well as the 2204 high and low inputs over here. Let's actually hear the low mode first on the neck pickup, because this is a pretty sweet clean if you just crank up the master. Marshall that saw some updates is the Brit Silver, so based on a Marshall Silver Jubilee. Also models of the Boogie Mark V in here. You've got the green mode, multiple red modes in there, and the extreme red mode, which is my personal favorite. So this one's kind of like a cross between a Mark series amp and a Recto. I actually like running it with the bass and mids a bit higher than I typically would on a Mark style amp. On that, there is a new tape chorus mode in here. There's also a tape flanger, which sounds really good. I kind of like the tape flanger with a mix around 30% to just add a bit of width on here. There's also this dual head tape delay. If you set the head to ratio to 75%, and bring the mix up, that is a pretty sweet lead delay that if you wanted to sync it to the tempo, works nice as your classic quarter note, dotted eighth note style delay, but I'll just leave it at 500 milliseconds. Models that were updated include the 1970 100 watt Plexi, which sounded pretty phenomenal, and the Rockerverb, as well as the Lone Star. The Lone Star and I think the Joe Satriani JVM now have this channel master volume and global master volume. I actually recently did a video for the G66 YouTube channel talking about these and how I like to set them. You can kind of get different characters out of the amp by setting, say, the channel master volume high and the global master volume low, and vice versa. But let's hear each of these, maybe starting out with the Texas Star lead. I'll go to the neck single coil on here. This one sounds really, really sweet. Might actually kick in the new Nobels ODR-1. This is a Nobels ODR-1 model. to Strat now and give you some examples of the new Spring Reverb and Tremolo models on here with just the Deluxe Verb normal amp model. I'll go through a few of my favorite springs. The springs now have this drip parameter if you want more or less of that Fender Reverb drippy goodness. And there's also several new tremolo types, the VCA Trem, the Neon Trem. I think the Neon Trem is the one based on old Fender Reverb styles, and the optical trems have been updated as well. There's so much good stuff in here. Let's hear it. Before we go, I'll give you a very quick example of how I've been making use of the gapless switching between channels to get more sounds out of fewer blocks on here. This is a variation of my main live preset. I've got the new 5153 100 watt stealth red in here. Now this is set up for my rhythm sound, same settings you heard before. I've got the CC boost engaged on here for a nice tight chunky rhythm sound. Same cab, I've got the multi-band comp in here, a little bit of gold plate reverb and some stereo pitch detune at the end for extra grease. Instead of using a control switch to say turn on the input boost or to use scene controllers to change the parameters in the amp block, what I've got on channel B is I've just got some slightly different settings on the amp block, basically more gain and some more mid-range on here. Now, channel A is assigned to scene 1, channel B is assigned to scene 2 on there. Furthermore, when I go to scene 2, I kick in this quad parallel delay, which gives me some chorusing using these short delay times and the chorus feature, and then a nice kind of big dual delay. On scene 3, no, I think scene 4, I've got these set up for kind of like a faux rotary sound over here. You can see much higher chorus rates on here. On scene 3, I'm just using this. I think I've actually got these voices disabled on here, and I'm just using them as a dotted eighth note delay. So I'm using a single multi-tap delay to do my lead delay, my rhythmic delay, and my rotary sound in there. Then the amp is just changing channels from my rhythm sound to my lead sound. I'll give you a very quick demo of what that all sounds like in here so that you can see the settings change in real time. Now it's pretty crazy that I'm running a pitch block, a high quality pitch shifted reverb, a Plex delay with 8 delays in there, and the multi-tap delay in there with this synth block, which by the way, I'm using Simeon Harris's kind of feedback simulator trick. If you haven't checked that one out, go and have a look on the forum, and also check out Simeon's blocks and presets. They're incredible, but that's why that kind of synth block is just hanging out there. I'm using it basically to cop the Digitech freakout thing when I want it. But that's incredibly powerful. That is just one preset, and it's giving me all the sounds I would need on there. It's also switching gaplessly on there between different reverb types, different multi-tap delay types in there. So you can go multiple ways now. If you just want to have a dedicated preset per song and switch gaplessly between them, you can do that. If you want presets per song with gapless changes between, say, channels and scenes within a preset per song, you can do that as well. Or you can use the setlist feature and basically just find your favorite scenes from your favorite presets, organize them into any order you like, and go and play. This is an amazing update. And I really have to stress, they don't have to do this. It's easy to take this for granted. All these new features, new amp models, new effects, improvements to the switching on there. The gapless switching is something that I didn't think we'd see until there was a new generation hardware unit. So the fact that they are so committed to adding these updates, again, it's easy to take it for granted. You know, we kind of bicker and moan about, oh, you know, the pot taper on the diesel VH4 channel 3 isn't exactly the same as my amp. When in the big picture of things, Fractal could do what some other companies do and just put a product out, kick back their heels, make a bunch of money selling hardware, and then, you know, I don't know, in 2 years, put out a bug fix or something like that. But they don't. They add all these new features. There's a very active community, and there's lots of people who share their ideas. I always learn so much from the comments that people leave on videos like this. You know, there's features that I miss, or there's use cases that I personally wouldn't consider that other people find incredibly useful. So on that note, I'd love to know how you're going to use these new features on the FM9, what you're going to use, what you're excited to check out, and what sort of music you're making with it. Because at the end of the day, these things are tools. They're incredibly fun, interesting, and powerful tools, but they are tools for making music. So let me know what you're using them for in the comment section below. If you want to grab the firmware, it has been posted on the Fractal forum, so you can go and grab it there. Use FractalBot to update the editor. Again, make sure you go to the setup page over here and set spillover and gapless to all, and go and make a bunch of glorious guitar noises. Be good to one another, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.